Hi again, everyone. I'm Stephanie, a teacher from Florida, and today the topic of discussion is small groups. A lot of information is out there about small groups, and the resources can be overwhelming. So, teacher to teacher, I'm going to share with you the top tips to make them work in your classroom. The first thing that I always share is to make sure that you have some kind of schedule. Small groups can run over time, they can be all over the place, and they can be a disorganized mess if you don't have a schedule that you follow. You want to make sure that your students are aware of this schedule, and you can even display it. I like to have it on my projector every single day, so if students forget, they don't need to come and ask me. They can quickly look at the schedule and know what they should be doing at all times. This helps so much with time management and with routines and making sure your students are on task. One of the biggest struggles with small groups is knowing what the students who are not currently working with you at the teacher table, knowing that they're on task and doing things that are meaningful and important. When you have a schedule, they know exactly what's expected of them and all the stations that they need to hit for that day. Which leads me to my next tip, which is to make your students accountable through a checklist. You want each student to have a checklist that they will use daily, weekly, however you set it up, and they need to make sure to complete all of the items on that checklist before the day or week's end, however often you want to check them. For me, weekly works best. My students need to make sure that they've gone through all of the stations and completed all of the necessary work before Friday. And then I will collect that, and over the weekend or during my planning time, I can quickly check and see which students were on task, which students struggled, and which ones really need some more direction the following week. Checklists can completely change the way your small groups work. And you don't need to run a bunch of copies. Slip it in a dry erase sleeve, and your students can reuse it week after week after week. Another important tip is to have some kind of consistency with your small groups. You don't want to spend 15 to 20 minutes each day describing new directions for new activities and new projects that students need to complete. In the groups where the students are not working with you, there should be set stations where students are aware of the expectations and exactly how to complete the activities. This way, you're only spending a few days at the beginning of each quarter or each semester, however often you want to switch it up, explaining the directions. And for the rest of the time, students know exactly what they should be doing because they did that activity the week before and the week before that. This really helps your students in being on task. Maybe the questions will change, but the formatting and the style of the actual activity will always stay the same. Another tip for you, during small group time, use that to conference with students. Small groups don't have to be 4 or 5 students. Your small group can be one-on-one, and you can spend 2 to 5 minutes with each student talking with them either about their reading or their math skills or working on a one-to-one skill that they're deficient in with them. Not only does this provide you, the teacher, with more insight as to how that specific child is doing in your class, but it also helps you build that bond with your students. Student conferencing really has the ability to help you understand all of your students' levels. It means a lot more than data on a piece of paper. Not to say data isn't important, but having that one-to-one conversation with the student and hearing their struggle firsthand with no one else around to listen really helps solidify the bond with that child and helps you to be able to fix whatever little issues there are in their learning. Another thing is to not be afraid of whole group. I know this video is about small group, but make sure that you take the time to teach your students that stamina so that they are able to listen to you in a whole group environment. This will make the activities that they do in small groups much more meaningful because they're really paying attention when you give that whole group information. So use engaging strategies to captivate their attention during your whole group teaching so that your small group time is much more meaningful. I hope these quick tips about small groups really help you to transform your classroom next year and make your small group time more positive and effective. For more tips, inspiration, and all kinds of teaching advice, visit reallygoodstuff.com/summerofsolutions. You will be so impressed with all of the things that they have to offer. Also, be sure to follow along with me on Instagram at GiveThatGirlASnack. I love connecting with you guys and I'm happy to answer any questions you all have. Have a great one. Bye.